Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm back with a good old foundation review, and today I'm going to be talking about a stick foundation that was requested when I reviewed my Dior stick foundation, and this is from the brand Lease. And this is newer from the brand. This comes in 25 shades and it retails for $25. So it's definitely more affordable than the Dior. There's not many call outs to this as far as what it is in the description on Sephora, other than an ingredient rich skin tint that enhances complexion to help visibly even skin while concealing the look of any blemishes or uneven tone with just one swipe. Medium coverage, natural finish, and obviously a stick formulation. It has green tea extract, watermelon seed extract, and rosehip oil. So if you are allergic to any of those, or if you don't like oils in your foundations, it's definitely in there. They say that it's an all-in-one serum, primer, and skin tint. I would not use this as a serum. Use your skincare and your SPF underneath. That leaves you with lasting hydration and a glow. So again, it does have rosehip oil as well as safflower seed oil. So let's go ahead and jump into the demo of me using this so I can tell you my thoughts. Let's talk about application. If I didn't show it in the intro, you can see this is how much I have used of the product. It is twisted all the way down. I meant to record how many days I've used this, but I think it's probably about 10 by now. I'm in the shade MN3, which is light medium skin with neutral undertones. So it says to swipe the stick generously across your forehead, cheeks, and chin, then gently blend with your fingertips like you would a serum. I have not tried it with my fingertips. And then it says for additional coverage, apply with a makeup sponge or brush, then buff using circular motions. I don't really agree with that either. I feel like it would, I'm not saying the brand is wrong. I'm just saying for me personally, I wouldn't do that because especially if you've already laid down a layer, you're just going to be swirling around the product you've already laid on. And to me, that just screams streaks. Maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't tried it that way. Layer and build until you achieve your desired look. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to stripe it on. We will do that part. So I'm going to start with 3 stripes. The color could not be more perfect for me. And I'm going to start on this side, stippling it in with my It Cosmetics 115 brush because I use this so much, and it really is one of my very favorite brushes for foundation. And stippling, which I'm doing here, is my favorite application method for foundation. So again, if I were to go in and buff it right now, it would just swirl the product around. So we're just gonna stick with the stipple. I have on my Eucerin Oil Control SPF 50 today. And that was 3 stripes of product. So I'm just going to put just a little bit. I don't need much on my forehead, but just to kind of even out the tone. Okay, so this is with the foundation. This is without. The SPF I have has no tint. So this is just my skin. And I would agree that it is a medium coverage. And I also would agree that it's a natural finish with a tiny bit of luminosity. If you can see, this side of my face is a little bit more luminous than this, but not drastically so. So before I do a close-up and let you see what it looks like on the skin, I have to say that I randomly tried it with my MAC 109 setting brush one day. I have no idea why. Now this is the original MAC setting brush, meaning it is natural hair. They have since gone to synthetic years ago, but I striped it on my face, which I'm going to do on this side, 3 stripes. And I did use this to kind of go in and still somewhat stipple. And I don't know why, but I loved it. The only thing I didn't love is not the foundation's fault, it's the brush's fault. And it sheds. But it's also probably 15 years old and natural hair, so I get it. But typically I don't like natural hair with creams or liquids, but this is just divine with this foundation. So if you have a natural hair brush that you like, I would suggest trying it out with this product or any other cream foundation. I don't know that it would do as well with something that wasn't as soft as this is. Like if it was a stiffer, waxier cream, it might not do as well, but I really liked it with this. again, luminous, but not so luminous that it's making my pores look larger or anything stand out in a negative way, in my opinion. And again, very, very, very easy to blend out, if you could see from the demo. So I'm gonna finish up my makeup and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is the final look with all of the makeup on top. I have my Chanel powder, my Chanel loose powder on, and then everything else, as always, will be listed down in the description box. Now, if you are new to my channel, this is how I do foundation reviews. I will take lots of notes. I use a different SPF and a different powder every day that I am testing the foundation to see how it works on top and underneath, so that I can better compare it to other foundations that I know work for everything. I also try it with different application methods. I will say I have not tried this with a sponge yet. I just typically don't like foundations as much with a sponge as I do with a brush. Now, there are a couple that's not the case, but I just didn't try it. I just felt like, you know what? I like it with a brush. We're gonna stick with that. So the 115 foundation brush that I used in the demo and the MAC 109 are the two brushes that I tried it with. The first day I used my Eucerin SPF that I have on today and my Fit Glow bamboo powder. And the only notes that I had were no touch-ups needed all day long. Absolutely loved it. Which is typically the case when I use my Fit Glow bamboo powder. It's just the best powder for longevity. There is something magical about that powder. But sometimes foundations can look dry with that powder. Didn't have any issues with that and this foundation on that day. The next day, I wore my La Roche-Posay UV Moon 400 and my RMS powder. Now, on this day, it definitely was more glowy, and I personally felt the need to touch up a couple of times with powder in my T-zone. And it did break apart on my chin some this day. Now, I didn't make any notes about it being a particularly hot day or me doing anything that would have caused that to happen other than my normal day-to-day routine. So those were just a couple of notes that I had with that. And it does track being more glowy because the RMS is more of a hydrating powder than the Fit Glow. And once I touched it up, it was fine. Day 3, I used my Numbuzzin number 1 SPF with the Chanel powder that I am wearing today. And this is the day that I tried it with my MAC 109 brush. And I loved using this brush, as I said in the demo. It was a gorgeous middle ground finish. It wasn't too matte and it wasn't too glowy. And I found that hands down my favorite powder to use with this is definitely the Chanel powder. I don't know what it is about it, but it just makes it look beautiful all day long and precisely the finish that I like, that middle ground. And then the 4th day that I wrote notes about it, I decided to use it with my Ultraviolet UV Matte SPF 50. And the reason, other than the fact that I love this SPF, that I definitely wanted to make sure I tried this with it is because when I was testing my Dior stick foundation, it did not work over this SPF. So I was like, you know what? Maybe it's just the SPF, even though my Lancome stick works over it. So let me try the Lisse over it and see. And it worked beautifully. It did not do what the Dior did. It did not break up the SPF. It did not patch off. And I also used my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Natural on this day. I will say at the end of the day, it looked the most like makeup of any of the days that I tested it. And that probably has something to do with the SPF because it is a thicker texture for sure. So even though it worked over the SPF, it looked good because of how it looked at the end of the night, very up close in a mirror, not from somebody that was like standing in front of me day to day would be able to see it. But it wasn't my favorite SPF to use under it because of that. I would say that my 2 favorites are the Eucerin that I have on today and the Numbuzzin. But I was so happy to see that it did work over the UV Matte from Ultraviolet because again, my Lancome that I talk about loving so much also works over that and has been my favorite stick foundation ever since it launched. So I decided to do a kind of wear test for both of these on one day, which was yesterday. And I wore Lisse on this side of my face and Lancome on this side of the face. And I will say I am in the shade 260 Bisque Neutral in Lancome, and they are very, very similar. I could not detect a single difference on my face as far as color goes. They were very similar in finish. And I'm going to tell you, they wore pretty much exactly the same. Like I really, Could not, and I got into my 10 times mirror last night. I could not detect a difference from one side to another. So that brings me to my final thoughts. I adore this foundation. I think it works just as well as my Lancome. This is $50. This is $25. This does have a tad more product. It has 0.30 ounces. This has 0.25 ounces. So very negligible difference for the price difference in these two. So again, I love this. This actually probably goes on a little smoother than the Lancome, and maybe one big difference is that this one dries down a little bit more of a powder finish. I still set both of them, but if you're someone who's used to wearing this without setting it, you may find the need to set this one. But once it is set, I could find little to no difference at all. So I love this. I think it's good for normal to dry skin, combo skin. If you're super oily, the fact that it contains oil, you might not like it. But if you prime accordingly, you might, especially depending on the type of finish you prefer in a foundation at the end of the day. I think all ages could use this and love it. I also tried picking it up from the actual stick component and then applying it one day, because that is how I prefer to put my Dior foundation on, and it worked great that day too. I do love the Dior. I know people are gonna ask me how it compares to that, and it's easier all around for me because it works with more products than the Dior did. I love the Dior, but if I had to pick between the two, I would actually pick this one. I thought about it and I'm like, I need to come in with a check-in, because I don't even know if I talked in the video about the wear, and it has a very good wear time. This is after 8 hours and not a single touch-up. And this is on the day that I am filming the video. So I have all the products that are listed in that video. I'm just so impressed with this foundation, y'all. $25, very affordable for a Sephora brand in my opinion, especially if you take part of any of their sales. I ordered the bronzer stick. It's actually coming in today. I'm excited to use that one because I've heard good things about that too. And I want to try some of their cream blushes because I am very impressed with this. So hopefully that was helpful. I'm going to list all of the products that I talked about, all the powders, all the SPFs, and everything I have on my face down below in the description box. Let me know if you've tried this, if you want to try it, what your thoughts are down in the comment section. Thank y'all so much for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.